Alrighty, what is going on YouTube? It's your boy White Album here, and welcome back to some more Holy Night. Last time we left off, Aoko was trying to blow up the moon, and Alice was like, yo, don't do that, and the moon's like, I'm gonna do that. So, enough dilly-dally, let's get right into it. Got my water ready here, got my buddy over there, he's laying down, hopefully he doesn't start barking up a storm, but here we go. Alright. We got a little further than that. Alright, so here we go. Let me take a quick sip of water. Wet the whistle real quick. Alrighty. Meaning, if the snark gathered as much energy as it could, there was nothing she could do to prevent her annihilation. Then, before that happens, she loaded her next shot. She issued orders to the floating third layer. Ignoring the toll on her body, she began to accelerate the first layer formula. The role of her right-hand single layer was to absorb and store surrounding magical energy. The thick fog that drifted through the park was an ancient ether spewed out by Flat Snark's own body, but Aoko could pour it into her formula. I like this animation. This animation looks so sick. Aoko's body, which had integrated with the formula, took on an amount of magical energy that far surpassed its maximum capacity. It seethed in agony. Or rather, it trembled in delight. For a mage, magical energy was a propellant to reach the realm of mystics, the expansion of eternal time. The liquefaction... Is that? That's not liquid. Liquefaction? Liquefaction on the self. I think that's how you say that. The release from the physical. What might call a near-death experience. Aoko stood face to face with reality on the boundary between it and such concepts. Ooh. That's a fucking thing I said destroyed the dinosaurs. What the hell? And that reality was here to break her will. To any bystander, the gap between them would be plain to see. The gun barrel named Aoko Alzaki. She had not a chance to chip away at the lump of ice. This pain. She accelerated the spell further. The skull grinned. That ice was no shield. It was something to be used to crush mages who did not know their place. The moon laughed as it prepared to crush not just Aoko, but the boy atop the roller coaster, as well as the park in its entirety. Oh, there he goes. Come on! Give me more! Her circuits were on the verge of going critical. Her body had been charged with a scorching power supply from her fingertips to her eyeballs. She would see to it that the bullet fired, that the magecraft formula would be strengthened as quickly as her nerve's transmission speed would allow. A single attack was not enough. There was no way to shoot it from its flank, which meant there was only one solution.
Selecta! Alternate!
Accelerant selector, reconnecting to alternating currents. The third layer began to transform. It switched from direct to alternating current. The spell's supposed strong point was its ability to adjust its trajectory mid-flight, but right now all she wanted was numbers.
Setto! Octagram!
Connecting. Octagram.
Zenkaiso! Bunmase!
All layers, max rotation. Oh, uh-oh. A blue sun shined down upon the amusement park. Beams of light at maximum output streaked forth to pierce the golden moon. It just goes bigger. Oh, carving the ice, huh? Okay.
Take this!
Holding down the trigger, she continued to fire, taking in energy ad infinitum. Infinitum? I guess. You should have just said it. At infinite power. Don't test my vocabulary 5 minutes into the damn video game. Please don't do that. Blue flame shot forth at critical level, but the ice would neither melt nor mar. No amount of sheer heat can make a dent into something formed from such a colossal amount of magical energy. The toll on her circuits sent them to berserk, and blood began to run free.
The spin should have been more than enough. He's just too strong.
The battle had become a tussle over the magical energy that filled the park. From the very beginning, this had been the Snark's home turf. The Snark had control over at least 80% of the space, while Oko had 20 at best.
No, I can't stop it.
Her fucking arm just explodes off her body like a Lego piece. No. The castle of ice descended as to call the match. All she could do was delay the inevitable. She knew that she had been backed into a wall, and right now, the only thing she could do was to keep firing. Then again, perhaps not. There was another option, just fucking nuke the place. If she converted all her magical energy into a defense, there was a tiny chance, no, not tiny, a great possibility, in fact, that she could save just her.
Shut up. Do it already. Not even that ice has a chance against all the magical energy here.
Clinging to that broken hope, Aoko continued to rotate her circuits. Time seemed to stop at the magical energy overdose. A second of intense pain lasted an eternity. Then, amidst everything... Huh? Something approached, one step at a time. Ooh, somebody with a red coat. Or cloak, I meant to say. Something from among the park's shadows. Something. 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 Wait. She felt goosebumps from head to toe. The issue was no longer the ice overhead. In the midst of this stillness, the Red Death drew closer. Steps by ominous step. Why here? Why now? Probably because you're gonna fucking die. I mean, most logical answer. If I was gonna die and I saw the Grim Reaper, I'd be like, yeah, I think it's my time to go, huh? You know? Her circuits and her mind began to rupture out of terror. The composition of her formula and soul began to rip apart. There it was, just behind her. Its footsteps came to a halt. It reached around and cupped her face in its blood-stained hands. Greetings. Take my power. Infuse it into your magics. I mean, that's not what it says, but it'd be cool if it did say that. She wanted to scream out with all her might. This is it. Nothing matters. I couldn't care less. Run, or don't run. It doesn't matter. Quit hiding and reveal yourself. Use whatever you can and show no mercy. That was it. She had one final card to play. A miracle that would treat that ice like nothing more than a toy, gifted to her as a mere amusement. That was what the Red Death had come to kill. Using it would spell ruin, and not using it would mean death by ice. But why would Aoko hesitate? There was no conditions limiting her, besides the fact that you're gonna like, keel over, but I mean, that's just that's my opinion. There would be no price to pay by employing it here. I mean, besides your death. You just went over that, Aoko, what the fuck? She simply would cease to be herself. That was all. Humans love to exist in areas of gray. Dozens of electrical impulses disconnect in the brain every minute. Nothing lasts forever. Not even oneself. Now we're already getting this deep game. It was not anything particularly worth of disdain. It was not even anything remarkably worth of being called taboo. What, like drugs or something? Shut up. What escaped her lips now was rage. Bewilderment from the red silhouette. The girl let out an inaudible scream. It's not a scream if it's inaudible. I don't know. She's just opening her mouth is what happened. Could true magic truly be her savior? What an opportunistic load of bull. True magic. What does that mean? Just by how true magic is capitalized, I'm assuming that's like the ability to like hone into both the, I guess like, sorry, to like hone into like the dark arts and I guess the good arts, I guess would be technically what it's called, the light arts if you want to be that guy. I'm assuming that's what that would be. So, are we finally hitting it? The moment where her hair becomes stained red? After all, to begin with, when she killed that cat. I have no clue how to do that shit yet. Indeed. Indeed, Aoko was still in the dark when it came to that magic, whatever it was. Dark arts. Speaking of dark arts, man, I'm thinking about doing a playthrough of Hogwarts Legacy when it comes out, like at the time of recording this, like I think it's like next week. I'm thinking about doing, I don't know, cause that's a game I kind of want to like play to myself, but I also want to like upload it as well. I think I could do like 2 playthroughs, but I don't want to be like, you know, I don't want to get farther into like my personal playthrough than when I upload. It's like I already know everything that's going to happen. I don't want to like ruin the like experience. So I don't know. I'm kind of like stuck in the in between. All right, here we go. Let me get some water first. I'm such a moron. She woke from her momentary hallucination. The very illusion her breaking soul has shown her. Whining had had the opposite effect on her. Her pride was now ablaze.
逃げるのか?
You can escape too. Sojiro was right. Her opponent had put her in check, but she had done the same to it. It was clear that she was losing, so now all she needed was a counterplan, well within her abilities. No matter the odds, she was not one to give up without giving it one last shot.
そうだ。
That's right.
放り出すのはやれることを全部やってから。
Giving up only comes after you tried absolutely everything. Why she better go Super Saiyan? Her numb fingers clenched in a tight fist. She was betting against the house, an unreasonable gamble that should have made her question her sanity. If her first step was off by an inch, her body would be instantly vaporized. But she knew a boy who never fled, even though she does not like that guy, but you know, hey. She knew of a steadfast courage that could shine its light, no matter how small, through any desperate situation. Yes, there was more than just herself to be concerned about. If that ice fell, it would mean the destruction of the park in its entirety. Everything he had achieved, everything he had risked and dared, and happily put his life on the line for, would be all for naught.
本当。
Really?
それじゃあ何のために意地を張ったかわからない。
What possessed him to be so bullheaded? Alright, now she's putting it into maximum overdrive. Determination and confidence surged through her like electricity. She was in no mood to be crushed by a giant sheet of ice. That's not a sheet of ice, that's a fucking meteor of ice. That's a comet. I don't know what the hell you're talking about. If she was going to lose, she'd rather do so at the grandest firework possible. Aoko was a sore loser at this point. Yeah, I think we already knew that. At this point, she would rather burn herself to cinders than let it decide her end.
Change! Change! Change!
Disconnect. Expand area. Reconnect. She grunted in pain. Energy raged through her body. Her circuits were on the verge of disintegration. Inscribed upon her body, her magic crest was Magecraft given physical form. It did not, however, stop with simply skin and flesh. It burrowed into the very marrow of her bones. That's a raw-ass line that I just read. That was pretty raw. That was raw as fuck. That was cold. A playful smile graced her lips. Her sense of reason had been turned upside down by the pain. That was only natural. I can do this! She had to praise her own body for holding out so long while being pushed beyond its limits. Moon's like, ha, you thought. The skull face noticed its abnormality. What the fuck? Oh, it became like a smaller moon. You saw that? That was pretty sick. It finally recognized the challenge for dominance over the space, and laughed at the conceit it faced. Neither did it expect a magician should challenge the great flat snark, lord of vessels over a millennium, in such an age of decline. She tried to catch her breath. She braced herself for the coming pain. She was going to smash that ice to pieces. Both had access to the same amount of magical energy. One of them was greatly outmatched, but
出力装置に差があった。魔力の吸引、方針の規模で負けているのなら。
there's a difference in our output. If I'm losing because of the scale of energy absorption and the size of the barrel, then
単純な話、私をでかくするだけでいい。
the solution is simple. All I need to do is make the formula bigger, and me with it.
チェンジ、ツアープラン。
Reconnect bullet configuration. I want to know what Alice's thoughts are on this. All of us, like, where's she at? Is she watching this? Like, oh shit, I think I fucked up. The feedback would go beyond anything she had experienced to date. Quite simply, her decision went beyond recklessness. She expanded both formulae to maximum size. The first layer would transform into a giant vortex, swallowing up the mist. The second layer would process it from one end and pump it into her, the barrel.
私の想定が甘かった。
I was naive,
撃ち落とすなんて半端もいいとこ。
thinking I could do something cute like shoot it down.
この場合、跡形もなく打ち砕くった。
I need to blast it all to hell. The primeval magical energy responded in concert with her conviction. It formed the pattern of a writhing serpent. Voiceless magical power flying the banner of revolution. She beckoned the great power of the old to feast its eyes upon the land. For it was the first of the trailblazers, the representative of mankind that knew no fear and would rend all manner of mythic and mystic to naught.
貸し借りはここまでよ。嘘つきブーチャム。
I'm done borrowing from you. You're lying Boojum? What the fuck is Boojum? I feel like I shouldn't be saying that.
お
But okay.
望み通り、のしをつけて返してあげる。
If you really want it, I'm more than happy to give it all back. For the newest magician commanded the principles of consumption and extinction. An aberrant bullet of light melted through the castle of ice. Her barrel was tempered. Her control of magical energy was divine. Her veins, totaling 62,000 miles in length, or 2.5 times the circumference of the equator, accepted the flow of magical energy with avarice. The subsequent magic bullet swiftly flew straight into the moon. Wait, 2.5 times the circumference of the equator? I took anatomy. I don't think that's correct. I don't know. I could be wrong. maybe we got an update in the anatomy course, and if that's the case, where the fuck was I? No. Death rose to the surface of the moon. A cry of terror and indignation echoed through the abandoned park. Reality was burned into the eyes of this creature of fantasy. As Aoka looked upon its vain attempt to struggle, she knew she had tasted victory. Victory despite her absolute reckless use of magical energy. The energy scales had been tipped to their breaking point, but nevertheless, in her favor. Bullet configuration. Total eclipse. Converge. Fuck him up. She didn't say that. She said, tear it a new one. I'm pretty sure she actually would have said that too. She would have said, fuck him up. What the hell? That was a cool effect. We're gonna cut back to Aoka. She was like Astrid in Skyrim, you know, when the Dark Brotherhood like place gets burned down. she's gonna play that. She's gonna like Patrick Star when he got burnt by King Neptune. Shatter. The skyscraper is scattered into automatized dust. The island, its unattainability extolled, has swallowed the whole, the despair of many challengers. And that which remained of this once proud thing that boasted of its untouched knowledge. Azure mist bemoaned its demise. The ice canopy in the sky crumbled. The snark-hunting bullet jumped over the moon. You were supposed to hit it, Aoka. What the fuck? Its throes of death sounded like the roaring sea, reverberating across this fairy tale land. Deleted. Yeah, just gone. The battle was over, and Aoka a cripple. The thick fog dissipated, and the shattered ice melted away before it hit the ground. A lethal bullet that had topped the Night King along with his throne, affording him no time to grieve his loss. The oil of the moon, the untouched flat snark, the dreamscape that had begun with its resurrection ended with its demise, drawing a close to this nightmare. Alice was like, what the fuck? Yeah, we're gonna go to Alice, and her eyes are just non-existent, because that's how wide they're gonna be, dude. Hey, it's snowing. How was it sharp? Oh, man. I guess I kind of went overboard. Flat on her back, Aoka looked up at the night sky. She lay there perfectly still, not able to move a single finger. When she tried, her whole body screamed out in agony. She was completely empty of magical energy, and her magic crest had come to a halt. She estimated that it would likely require a whole day to recover all her bodily functions. Ah. So it's not like Naruto, where it's like their life, like, support, I guess? Because you know how, like, Naruto, the chakra, if you run out of chakra, you pretty much fucking die.
in that series. But here it's just like, yeah, I don't think I could be doing anything for the next fucking couple days. Sadly, all she could really do in that moment was take a breath. At least her chest was swelling with pride. She had gone toe-to-toe with a fairy tale monster and had emerged victorious. The battlefield conditions had favored her, it was true, but there was no denying that Aoko had come a long way in the last 6 months. Does it barely destroy a puppet to blowing up the moon? Luck or not, I still owe Alice an apology. Once a ploy's been broken, it's gone forever. Flat Snark would never again return to this world. It was an insanely rare item, so invaluable that it almost had been impossible to price it for an auction at the Association in London. Aoko had sent Alice's priceless treasure of the Magecraft world to oblivion. I was playing that recently. To be honest, I think I like Skyrim a little bit more than Oblivion, but that's just my own opinion. Don't fucking stone me for that. Needless to say, things had gotten more than a little out of hand. Still, he's still standing on top of the fucking Ferris wheel. I'm sorry. Roller coaster. They had both agreed to the fight, so Alice probably would not complain. Even if she was furious, she would never be so undignified as to show it. Oh, she probably is. Probably punching fucking... like, there's just fists, in the air right now. Punching a pole. Who knows? The second Aoko relaxed, her fatigue finally caught up with her. She did everything in her power to fight off the overwhelming drowsiness. Aside from a few minor internal injuries, her body was miraculously unscathed. So much so that she felt that she could probably stand up and dust herself off after a bit of rest. What happened now is you're a fucking paraplegic, Aoko. The golden moon continued to burn in the night sky. Well, you are oil after all. You probably could burn for... Aoko's bleary eyes went wide in astonishment. She was still unable to lift a finger. Alright. The baker who found the snark disappeared along with it. Well, technically, wouldn't that be Sojiro? She sighed in resignation. Aoko accepted that her final stand left her with only 10 seconds before she burned to ash too. Then Sojiro comes and saves the day. Elsewhere, just for a short moment prior, buffeted by the strong winds atop the roller coaster. Oh, never mind, he's not going to be able to save her, he's still up there. Sojiro gravely peered down at the ground. He just sees burnt Patrick Star. All he could muster was a single murmur. He could see Aoko on top of some drawing on the park, and... What in the world is that thing made out of? In the distance, there was something familiar in the direction of the ruined house of Mir... Uh-oh. Sojiro's job to throw Aoko's hair from a great height was complete. Again, I'm still... wondering if that puppet is alive. Because it technically didn't get fully destroyed, right? While not the most impressive of tasks, it was absolutely a matter of life or death. Yo, buddy, I think you should look behind you real quick. That egg doesn't look too fond of you right now. At the top of it all, just thinking about how he was going to get back down to the ground was making him dizzy. He had experienced more than enough trouble for one day. You mean one night, my guy?
Yeah.
Wait, but... He was flustered as he stood atop the swaying bridge. Okay, this is like moments prior before he fucking saw Aoko blow up the moon. A skull suddenly appeared in the sky above. On the ground, he could see a circling blue light with Aoka Ozaki in the middle of it. And one more thing. A shadow was approaching Aoko that only someone from his vantage point could see. There she is. A shadow missing the lower half of its body. The upper half of its body was slowly crawling its way to Aoko. They were still over 600 feet apart. Unfortunately for Aoko, she completely failed to notice it approaching from behind.
遠くて見えないけど、あれは
It's too far to make out, but isn't that... He was sure of it now. There was only one thing in the park that could chase Aoko, and not him. The puppet.
いや、でも、ほら、あるいは、ひょっとして、ただの偶然ではないだろうか。
I try to make you sound at least a bit more, worried about her, my man. But, I mean, maybe it's a coincidence, right? Right? His mind ran in circles. It was a perfectly reasonable reaction. Any grip on reality he might have had left was long lost when Aoko started firing beams of light at the monstrous moon. His face. I don't know, if you noticed that puppet chasing her, I would do my best to start fucking, while carefully not trying to kill myself, go down the roller coaster. Aoko's merciless fire buffeted the roller coaster like a storm. Just standing on it was almost enough for him to be thrown off and killed. At any rate, Sojiro couldn't fathom the situation. Should he head back to the entrance of the roller coaster and warn Aoko about the incoming threat is what she should do. I mean, never mind, because those are the bread guys. No, there was no way he would make it in time. And to make matters worse, there was a horde of bread down there waiting for him. Read that out of context, that doesn't sound that bad, but, what happened a bit ago with the bread men is what makes that funny to me. It may very well have been the case that Aoko was already aware of the puppet, and would take it out as soon as it got closer. If she was, Sojiro was sure he would only be in the way. But it did not seem like there was anything he could do to help. And beyond that, Aoko was not the only one in danger. He was quite in the predicament himself. Yeah, I mean, what about the Eggman? When's that gonna hatch and tear him a new one? You can't go home again. The road home was never as safe as one thought. It was as true here as it had been in the mountains. The path he was on was no exception. As risky as the ascent had been, it was even more dangerous to go back down. This was no time to be worrying about others. His shaking legs reminded him that only 200 feet separated him from death.
大丈夫。それは分かっている。けど。
I'll be fine. I know that. Just... His head was pounding. This was reckless and stupid. Having been raised in the mountains, he was more sensitive to danger than anyone raised in the city. And just thinking about what he was about to do made his throat seize up. There was only one thing he could say for sure.
青崎のことだ。あれに絶対気づいていない。
Aozaki had no idea that thing is coming for her. Alright, maybe running down the roller coaster is not the greatest idea, man, but sure. With a sobbing shout, Sojiro started making his way down the 200-foot frame of the roller coaster. His race toward death accelerated. He never meant to speed up, but the downward slope propelled him forward. Here I go. Okay, first of all, just by this angle here, you should trip right then and there. Like, your legs wouldn't be able to catch up to you and you would just fucking plummet. It was too late for regrets. Now that he was running, he had no choice but to go even faster. And time was not on his side. He would have never made it in time if he had taken the long way down. Never mind the breadmen crowding the exit of the roller coaster. With the exits blocked, the outcome would have been the same whether he went down slowly or quickly. There was no reason to rush to his death as desperately as he did. So what? So what if it was futile? Sojiro cleared the doubts from his mind. He turned his attention to what he could do, keep his footing, and try to arrive at the bottom as quickly as he could. Bro, my dude is running almost, Focus. Forget whether you'd be there in time to save her. The most important thing is, he had no idea what impulses were driving his stiff limbs. He just focused on the moment, pushing past the fear and the cold logic. At his core, he was the kind of person to deal with problems head on. There would be time to think about the consequences later. But hesitation was not only his obstacle. No, he just fucking roundhouse kicks that egg. It goes, he roundhouse kicks it. It fucking goes flying right into the ice glacier thing and explodes. And now Alice lost 2 of them. The worst possible hindrance appeared at him when not focusing on track would mean certain death. Sojiro sensed something wrong with the egg he had so studiously observing out of one eye. Queen what? Queen Alice? Moongrass? Okay. Something had changed. At the very moment he realized it. It's a bomb. I can't be looking to the side right now. Sojiro stumbled, then instinctively caught himself. It was a miracle he had not fallen. Descending a roller coaster on foot was an act of suicide. Yeah, definitely. The egg stayed right by his side, so close it would likely collide with him. Though he was trying as hard as he could to not look at it, he could not help but feel unease that the door-like decoration in its center was gradually opening. Damn it! Why now? He cursed his rotten situation, and yet he refused to slow down. He ran even faster, glaring at the egg on his side. Again, that's a sentence I would have never thought I would read. What the hell is going on? Why? It has the worst timing! Sojiro was baffled to find that he was smiling. Perhaps it had something to do with Aoko's charm. Sojiro cannot tell one way or the other. He could still feel Aoko's fingers on his skin. The trust and expectation she had placed in him was etched into his heart. But what spurred him on was something entirely different. This all stemmed from a deeper problem. It was something inside that he could not understand at the time, but would eventually come to terms with one day. Alright, less than 5 feet left. You're telling me this man ran 195 feet down a roller coaster in the span of like 2 minutes? That's wild. Give or take. He carefully judged the distance as he ran down the track of death. But the distance between what? That went without saying. It was the distance between himself and that thing, and that one thing that could save his life. He told himself he was going to do it, over and over, like a mantra. Sojiro could not believe himself. What he was about to do was incredibly stupid. Oh, he's going to jump off. But what is stupid when smart is not an option? I guess jump off. Oh, he's going to jump on the egg. Oh God, is he actually going to jump on the egg? Yo, wild. I'm really going to do this. This is insane. Amidst it all, he laughed at how pointless such self-reflection was now. Temporary confusion and psychological thrill ride, both had laid his soul bare. What really mattered, but a simple man gets by without deep thought. Sojiro's primitive mind did not crave success or reward. For him, it was simple. Yes. This is it. He was doing it because he wanted to. Not because he felt obliged to those around him. His desire to live his way was his and his own. Iko! Here we go! Oh God, is he actually jumping? If the egg had been equipped with a vocal function, it would have gasped in shock of what happened. He jumped on the fucking egg. The boy, who had not tried to escape up until this point, suddenly shifted his weight. He pointed his feet outward instead of inward. On the edge of the one rail, he crouched over ever so slightly to maintain momentum and gazed at the floating egg. Close enough. I could do this. He fucking jumped at it. Yo, that's wild. He soared through the night sky. It was a flight that lasted a mere 1.5 seconds. A cordless bungee jump from 150 feet above ground, wasn't it? Okay. Well, I guess 100. Yeah, that would make sense that he was counting to himself. His destination, the egg. The only thing that would stop his fall, the giant flying egg. Come here, you. He shrieked, this time out of elation, as he desperately clung to the egg's surface. I'm sorry, I'm laughing to myself. Oh man, this is something I thought I would have never had ever thought of reading, but you know. Just earlier, the cold-blooded witch had told him without fear that top of the building would feel no different than a balance beam. This was from the same witch that would have been left speechless had she witnessed the spectacle, definitely. Fearlessness was one thing, recklessness was another. He followed up with an act that would irritate her for days to come, definitely. I'm relying on you, egg. Yeah, if there's one thing that's trying to kill me, that's the one thing I don't want him to rely on when I'm about to plummet myself 150 feet. Clinging to the egg, he shifted his gaze away from it. He felt the rapid descent. Sojiro, focusing on his half-shut eyes on the ground, leaped off the egg once they were a few feet from the ground, then turned back to it, carefully to re-establish eye contact. Something so unbelievable, thought to Sojiro. The elevator at the department store and the mysterious floating egg were both just moving objects, virtually indistinguishable from one another. Alright, it didn't break. It's always a shame when food goes to waste. That's not the problem here. He landed near the plaza. The shortcut that almost cost him his life had paid off. Sojiro took off running the second his feet touched the ground. The puppet after Aoka was the only thing on his mind. He paid no mind to the moonlight in the sky, or the egg, furious about being used seconds away from self-destructing and blasting fragments all over the place. Aozaki! Nanu? Oh. Huh? Aoka's dumbfounded expression spurred Sojiro on. The curse was complete. The empty egg began to sing its warning, to let them know there was no escape. Shrapnel from the egg exploded through the air. The ode to Queen Alice that Alice had engraved into Dumpty quickly... Oh shit. Fuck. Hold on. Fuck, went too far. Hello? What just happened? I pressed one button and all went to fucking hell. Alright, here we go. Let me get back to what I was saying. Thank you. The oath to Queen Alice that Alice had engraved into Dumpty quickly robbed him of his senses. Okay. Was that it? He snapped back to the task at hand and ran to Aoko, still lying on the ground. His legs ran on their own accord. Though he could have ever stopped them anyway, since he could no longer feel them. Don't you puppets ever give up? fucking moon, an egg, and a puppet, bro. What a fucking trifecta bullshit. Game ends right then and there. Boom, done. End. The scrambled murder case. Piles of rubble became flowers of light blooming from the earth. That was weird. The final curtain drew close, and the defeated left the battleground. Had Alice seen it up close, it would have left her beside herself. That too had escaped by a hair's breadth. The only person in a position to witness that rare mutual destruction was the girl who had been saved from it. The boy who had never stopped running paid it no mind. I thought you were a goner. The safety of the girl in his arms meant infinitely more to him than the miraculous way in which he saved her. Yeah, I jumped off a roller coaster onto an egg, landed feet first, and saved you. You're welcome. The moon did not wait for dawn to set. The ornamental texture of the fairytale kingdom faded away. All the illusions returned to the way they were before. From the ostentatious chords reverberating through the streets, to the puppets welcoming their guests. There we go. Peace and quiet reigned once more, over a forgotten kingdom never to be awakened again. She's like, oh, what are you doing? Out flickered the embers of a late night dream, even the electric lamps that illuminated the park. Together, they watched it disappear. Sojiro laid on the ground, desperately gasping for air like a fish out of water. The curse of the exploding egg had numbed his pain, and he was understandably exhausted after all he had experienced. He looked like he could be blown away by the slightest of breezes. While Oko was also exhausted, she was still in better shape. Really? After that fucking atomic blast of magical energy that she did? I feel like the guy who jumped off a fucking roller coaster onto an egg would probably still be in better shape. Then again, I guess he got hit by egg shrapnel, which is, again, something I thought I would never say. But here we are. Here I am now. What, 17 parts into this game? Focused on taking deep, even breaths. She was already working to recover her strength. So, she addressed Sojiro indifferently as her gaze remained on the amusement park. The abruptness of it was a bit theatrical in nature. She wanted to look at him as she spoke, but her pride was simply too great. You did something kind of amazing, right? In a stupid way, yes, he did. The moment she had accepted death had seemed like an eternity. She was beside herself in shock at how indifferent she had been as the shards rained down from the moon. But a reassuring voice had snapped her back into reality. Why did he do it? What was he thinking? What moronic things did he have to do to pull it off? She had no answers for these questions, lying on the ground as she was. All she knew, that he had more than made up for his failure in the House of Mirrors, and then some, in those fateful final moments. She addressed him hoping to find answers, but she found herself unable to probe any further. To dig any deeper would feel like a defeat, which is why it was so unlike her to ask him in the first place. Luckily for her, Sojiro had neither the capacity nor sensitivity to understand how egocentric she was being. Amazing. You're pretty amazing, Aozaki. He stuttered between labored breaths. It was taking him so much effort just to breathe that he could not address her properly. She watched him out of the corner of her eye. Thinking back on it, the boy had performed the same role each time. Each and every time, he did what he could. He did what he could in spite of his fecklessness. Fecklessness? I think it's supposed to be recklessness, but it's an F there for some reason. Unless that's a word and I just never knew until now. It was far more admirable than her nearly suicidal tactics, even if she did defeat her opponent. He did not even recognize how extraordinary his last act of courage was.
提案。あいつをやっつけるのに協力したら、俺のことは見逃してくれる？
Here's an idea. If I help you kill that thing, will you let me go? At the very least, he had the courage to keep trying whatever he could. A spectator might have viewed him as a supporting actor. His actions were not exactly memorable. But the lead actress he supported did not see it that way.
まあね。
Well,
認めたくないし、口になってもっとしたくないけど。
I don't really want to admit it myself, much less say it out loud, but such inspired actions were wasted in a supporting role. This guy really pulled off the impossible. It was so amazing that she wanted to shout it as loud as she possibly could for all the world to hear.
青崎？
ほんと、人畜無害も同すぎると侮れないわ。
God, he's so innocent, it makes me want to barf. All Aoko could do was sigh. She's like, yeah, we're both pretty fucked up right now. Again, I just want to see Alice at the moment. She's like, she's just sitting there in shock. She's like, you know, just broken. She doesn't know what happened. How could she not? Even she was forced to admit that the way he'd snatched her from the jaws of death was dashing.
ま、評価、甘めだけど。
I must be getting soft. Truth be told, he was a lunatic for doing what he did. And she just stared up to the night sky. She steadied her breathing and composed herself. She was in bad shape, and she had her pride as a mage to consider, which is why she needed to maintain an air of dignity when making a proclamation.
しずきくん、見逃すのは今日だけって話だったけど、あれ、なしでいいわ。
Suzuki, I originally meant to let you off the hook for today only, but I'm willing to let the whole thing go. And Alice is like, on the contrary!
命は助けてあげるから。
For the time being, I decided to let you live. And Alice is like, not after what you did to my ploys, motherfuckers. Alright, now it's time to pay in blood. Like there wasn't already in blood, but you know. She hastily extended her right hand. It was either to shake his or to help him up. However, he just got up. Sojiro did not take her hand, but instead stood up on his own. This night, despite the sheer insanity that he had just experienced, his face had not once looked as incredulous as it did now.
何よ、そのリアクションは。
What? Something wrong? She stammered, worried that she had deeply embarrassed herself. Sojiro's gaze was fixed upon Aoko. A problem had dawned on Aoko. Though she normally hated being stared at, this time she did not mind. Rather, she was enjoying the warmth in his eyes and felt like it was something she could almost come to appreciate. Don't you get it? This isn't just about friendship, and I didn't mean he only likes you either. Believe me, when I say that Sonoji really... Oh no. This conversation came rushing back. It was a memory better left forgotten.
いかん、それは違う。
No, not happening. Pushing Tobimaru's words out of her mind, Aoko turned to Sojiro.
それとこれは別だから。
Don't get any ideas.
私はあんたのこととか ほんとどうでもいいんだから。
I don't care about you in the least. Puzzled, Sojiro tilted his head.
さっき嫌いだって言われたけど。
You already told me how much you dislike me. He responded matter-of-factly to her sudden declaration. She certainly had pointed that out, and to his face no less. It had a mere figure of speech that he had not meant to take literally, but now was not the time to belabor the point.
そうじゃなくて、あなたが私に惚れてても期待しないでって言ってるの。
I'm not talking about that. I'm just saying, you shouldn't get your hopes up, no matter how far you've fallen for me. Yet, belabor she did. What if you're just like, what? I don't like you. What the fuck? Not with that big forehead. Alko blushed slightly, realizing how inane she was being. She wondered how she ended up in this position. And yet, she knew that she had to get this off her chest. All that was left was to politely wait for his response. I can't date you. Such heartbreakingly painful words were too much for a simple boy to hear. His shoulders slumped as if the world were coming to an end. Or so Aoko thought. On the contrary, Sojiro was sitting there in deep thought.
俺が青崎に惚れてるって？
Did you just say, I'm in love with you? Sojiro murmured the words as if they were a magic spell. She shot back with the affirmative. Just laughing in her face. What made you think that? After a moment of deep contemplation, the boy turned to the expectant girl and said,
なんで？
There it is. Why did you think that? He had to be joking. But he was not. He was completely serious. Damn, bro, she was ready to turn this boy down, and in reality, he was like, nah, I don't see you like that. She's like, He liked her, but he didn't like her. The white that's fading. That's fucking the sudden realization that she just made herself a fool. Oh, fuck. Hold on. No. Okay. What made you think that? Yep, hold on. Sorry, you gotta skip ahead. There it is. Again, he had to be joking, but he was not. He was completely serious. So, he liked her, but didn't like her. That's funny. Of course, the vice president had jumped to the conclusions. This boy had no interest in romance. He probably didn't even know what that was. So. She was incredibly embarrassed by how confused Sojiro still appeared to be. Her rosy complexion spread throughout her entire body.
もう一度聞くけど、なんで？
I'll ask again. But why do you think that?
そりゃ、こっちが聞きたいわよ。
That's what I want to know. Damn, she walled my guy, bro. That's fucked up.
飛び丸の大バカ野郎!
You freaking moron! Tobimaru! Just like that, she had lost her cool and given into an unjustifiable outburst. She's like, I'll kick his ass when I get back to school. I'm gonna give him 10,000 fists of fury. It was time to seal off the area and destroy all the evidence. The entire park? You're gonna destroy the entire park? That's what you're gonna do? Aoko's embarrassment devolved into sheer panic, and her grudge against Tobimaru suddenly manifested as criminal assault. She lashed out with a punch that could have taken down a bird mid-flight. More specifically, it was a brutal right hook. A bird mid-flight, like how Randy Johnson threw a fucking fastball and just annihilated a bird. If you don't know what I'm talking about, look up Randy Johnson hits bird with pitch. That thing burst into a fucking ball of feathers. That thing was wild. Oh. Aoko blinked. Her blow had connected with something solid, snapping out of her reverie. Her temper had lashed out at the completely defenseless Sojiro. It had been a splendid blow with all her weight behind it, knocking him out cold. I mean, if he didn't If he had any chance of liking you, just threw that away. Like, oh man. She fucking walloped my boy. Why? Why? Sojiro groaned, crumpling to the ground. Her punch finished the job that the curse had started. If not for the discomfort on his face, he appeared almost to be sleeping. Aoko convinced herself that he was napping, not concussed. Yeah, keep thinking that.
いっか。予定通りになったものね。
Well, whatever. It was always going to end up like this anyways. The tension in her shoulders eased away as she looked down at Sojiro. A ton had gone her way over the course of today. But the day was saved. For now. With nobody left to butt heads, she felt exhaustion finally overtake her.
歩いて帰れるかな、私。
Ugh. How in the heck am I going to walk home like this? Her fatigue was enough to make her complain out loud. When she thought about it, she realized that this was the first time she had used up all of her magical energy, and the first time she had participated in a battle of this scale without any preparation. Though in truth,
私一人じゃ、どっちも相打ちだったっけ？
it would have ended in mutual destruction if I'd been alone. She felt somewhat proud as she whispered those words. Normally, it was something that she would beat herself over up. What? Normally, it was something that she would beat herself up over. But instead, she simply shrugged her shoulders with a bitter smile. After all, it was all thanks to the person sleeping by her side. Well, he's sleeping by, not willingly, but yeah.
ね、聞こえてないわよね。
Hey, you can't hear me, can you? As if the night had swallowed her voice before it reached him, she received no response. Confident, she continued in an even quieter voice.
ありがとう。十分に助けてもらったわ。
So, thank you. You really got me out of a jam there. Of course, there was no response from Sojiro, and she was not expecting one. Saying it for the record was enough. Aoko watched Sojiro sleep for a while and then pulled something out of her pocket. It was a palm-sized glass bottle her roommate had given her, which she opened with a pop. You're telling me that thing, she had that on her the entire time? And that time she got mollywopped by a fucking puppet and then fighting everything in the park, that thing didn't break? Okay.
でも、それとこれとは別だから。
But none of this matters. Leaving behind words colder than a winter chill at night, she called out his name. She barely sensed the bottle moving. As the silhouette of the fallen boy appeared to blur, she got the feeling that the weight of the bottle had increased slightly.
うわ、どうなってんだろうこれ。
Whoa. That's kind of weird. What appeared to be a human form could clearly be seen inside the glass. Alice's tools were mystics that confounded even the most knowledgeable of mages. As soon as Aoko tried to analyze them with logic or reason, she was already out of her depth. Knowing this too well, Aoko closed the bottle and watched the boy disappear, as if by some magic trick. Well, it technically is magic.
たく、こんなの手品じゃなくて魔法だって。
Jeez, this is no stage trick. It's actual magic. Yeah, it's like she said that like she forgot that she just blew up the fucking moon. But okay. She muttered as she looked into the magical bottle. Its weight had not changed significantly, and she had no idea how it worked. But the one thing she did know was that there was a human being inside of it. It was lightweight. Its lightweight was almost unnerving, closer to empty air than a human being. It was about as heavy as one could expect if they bottled a summer breeze. Though, that did fit her image of Sojiro perfectly.
アリスの言う通り。
It's just like Alice said. She muttered to no one in particular as she recalled the past.
ほんと、私らしくない。
This really isn't like me. Aoko wore a bittersweet smile. Her usual moodiness was gone. It was a dangerous world out there. It was good to have someone to keep her on her toes. With a wry chuckle, she flipped the magic bottle with her finger and set off walking. Well, I guess we're done with this chapter, huh? Yes, no, maybe so? Oh god, here we go. She could hear a bell in the distance, signaling the end of the play. An ephemeral dream gave way to reality. In the grand scheme of things, it had just been but an instant. As the actors exited stage left, the last lights silently flickered out. And so, the long-dead amusement park played its final role as a memory for a boy and a girl. Well, a boy and two girls. That's just me. Ooh, there we go. Finally, I think we're finally done with the Night of Witches. Now we're finally on episode, whatever the hell this is, called Like a Dog. So we're going to save that. And I think with the end of this chapter is the end of this video. So, hopefully you guys did enjoy. And if you did, please like, comment, and subscribe. I'll see you guys next time. This is your boy White Album, signing out.